Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Hope you guys are all enjoying the weekend. The lovely sunshine we've had in Newcastle has been great, and it's been a pretty crazy weekend in the world of Newcastle United news as well. Loads of transfer stories coming out. I thought I'd jump on, talk a little bit about and update on what we've already kind of spoken about in the last few days, as well as talk about the reported offer that Newcastle have made to Wolves as a player swap. Reported Newcastle offered Elliot Anderson to Wolves in exchange for the centre-back Max Kilman. We'll get into that in this video. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. I know I've been ranting on about it recently, so I won't go over the top. But if you're not subscribed and you want to be updated on all of these Newcastle videos, pretty much posting every day at the moment, then hit the red button. It helps me and it notifies you guys of what's going on. So let's start off. Well, who do you want to start off with? Let's start off with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's been linked to Newcastle United. Reports were that Newcastle are putting a bid in for the player and, as reported today, are now in advanced talks or at an advanced stage in the process of signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. There's been a bit of a mixed reaction on that one as to whether it's good or bad. For me, at the end of the day, it comes down to how much we pay for him. Because if we get him for 10 million, I think that's an alright deal. Yes, he hasn't been great for Everton in recent years. I think he scored, a handful of goals for them last season, but I think there is a player in there. And let's not forget, he's coming in to be, second choice to Alexander Isak. And we don't have Europe this season, so I hope Isak can play most of the games and hopefully Calvert-Lewin can be the stand-in. It seems that Newcastle, despite Eddie Howe saying that he wants to keep Wilson, by the way, I'm not against keeping all three of them. As long as they can be happy that they will not play every game, just have all of them. As I've mentioned in yesterday's video, hopefully one of them will be fit at some point, but it seems that it's more down the route of Wilson would be leaving. Links to Saudi Arabia, even links to West Ham as of today. I know he loves scoring against them. Maybe he thought, we'll buy him and then he can't score against us anymore. So yes, in the striker situation, bit of a to and throwing on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. In terms of the Yakuba Minta stuff, well, it's been reported that he has interest from Everton. I mean, Sky Sports were reporting that. Again, that's a little bit, what's going on there with the PSR, Calvert-Lewin one way, Minty the other way. Is that trying to... Again, it's all this PSR stuff. But anyway, Yakuba Minta's agent has reportedly said that Minty is in fact in talks with European clubs right now and has reportedly agreed terms with one of these clubs that's unnamed. So again, it looks like the route appears to be that Newcastle would prefer to let Minty go and then use the money to fund another player in that right-wing position, one of which we've been linked to is Neto. Again, another Wolves player. They are a team who are struggling with PSR. There's no surprise we're linked with a couple of their players, except for the fact that Wolves want lots and lots of money for him. So again, and he's another injury-prone player. So, yeah, in terms of Minty, I'll be interested to see how this one plays out. Again, that's another one that's really mixed reaction from the fans to keep or let him go. Again, I think I mentioned this yesterday, that if we are going to let him go, as long as it's for a big fee with a huge additional sell-on clause and we have the right to buy him back at first, as long as we put all of that into the contract, we can maybe make it work for us. But one bid that I really didn't see happening was, as reported yesterday, Newcastle have offered a swap deal for Wolves' centre-back Max Kilman. Now, I've obviously just mentioned about the different positions that we're going for. We obviously brought Lloyd Kelly in not too long ago. It's clear that centre-back is still a position that Newcastle are really going for. Max Kilman, I think, is a decent player as well. He's already had links. It was reported that West Ham were putting bids in for him, and now Newcastle appear to have joined the race. 27 years old. By the way, we're talking about injury-prone players. This guy pretty much played every single minute of football for Wolves last season. And I definitely think it's on Eddie Howe's list to continue going for another centre-back. I mean, at one point before the season even started, it looked like we were going to have two centre-backs in terms of Kelly and Tosin. It's obvious that a striker and a right winger are positions that we want to go for. And I don't think bolstering the defence with another player is a bad idea. Having said that, Max Kilman is also left-footed. Part of me wonders, you know, I guess the thing is it's like availability of players and who is out there. And if West Ham are already linked with them, the chances are that Wolves were open to selling them. Have Newcastle poke their nose in and gone, well, actually, you know what? We're interested in him as well. But at this stage, you know, you've got Shaw playing right centre-back, then it's Lascelles, then it's Kraft. I mean, over on the left-hand side, you've got Botman, who's obviously injured at the moment, but I would say our best centre-back. Then you've got Lloyd Kelly, who's just come in. He's left-sided as well. Then you've got Dan Burn, who in fairness finished the season with fantastic form. So, you know, of the three either side, it's strange that we're picking the left-hand side again. But it didn't take too long, in fairness, for following reports by The Athletic to actually say that Wolves rejected the deal. They weren't keen on the Anderson-Kilman switch. It's actually said that Wolves are holding out for as much as 50 million. I think they also rejected a bid from West Ham for around 30 million as well. So straight away, you're walking into this transfer window, and it's the same with all of them, you know. And this is what comes back to the Dominic Calvert-Lewin stuff, because if we're getting him on a decent deal, I don't mind it, but I'm trying to talk myself around it. Like, yeah, like 10, 15 million for Calvert-Lewin, that's a great deal. I mean, in what reality are they actually going to sell him to us at that price? Unless they literally need the money. And if Minty does go the other way, then maybe it is a bit of like, well, as I said, scratch your back, we'll scratch yours, we'll give you the player for a lesser fee. But in terms of Wolves, they're going to want as much as they possibly can get. And for a player that multiple teams are bidding on or trying to go in for, they're going to just keep putting the price up. If West Ham have already offered 30 million and they've rejected it, you know, I think they are going to hold out and try and get as much money for them as possible. Yeah, but the positive thing is that we're in for players there. We're looking to do deals. A centre-back is clearly a position that we're still interested in, but I think of all of that, what was shocked me the most and was so unexpected was the fact that we offered Elliot Anderson, as reported. You know, as reported, Elliot Anderson was part of that deal, and it's also reported that Elliot Anderson has no intention to leave, and in fact, I think it was Craig Hope from the Daily Mail has said that would want to sign a new contract and wants to stay at Newcastle United, and it does raise the question: is what are Newcastle's priorities in that kind of midfield space? Because what does Elliot Anderson bring? What he brings to us is a homegrown player, Geordie lad. You know what it is for me? I don't know Anderson personally, and I've got no idea what the lad's thinking, but what I would say is that if I was Geordie and we're pushing top four in Champions League, and he is getting game time, he's not getting loads of game time, but he is getting game time, why would he not rather just stay at his homegrown club? Because that's the toss-up. As we move into the rest of this season, the midfield positions is pretty stacked. I understand that people want to maybe still look at bringing a different type of midfielder in, as I've said, like a more defensive midfielder in to maybe help Bruno go forward. But generally speaking, we've got loads of midfielders. And then I guess the question comes down to Elliot Anderson, question mark, are you happy to kind of sit in behind Tonali, Bruno, Joe Linton? I think Miley is possibly ahead of where Anderson is. I know it's two different players. Then Eddie Howe loves Longstaff as well. So, Elliot Anderson is kind of creeping down the end of that list. And I would also go on to say that Elliot Anderson, I don't know if that is really his position. I think, to be honest, I don't think Newcastle play Elliot Anderson's position. I think his best position is like the free roaming kind of 10, or at least that's what we saw of him previous. I think some of the best games he's actually had. I mean, he has come in, and don't get me wrong, has been a bit of a brute on the pitch, similar to Joe Linton. He's not scared to go in, kick a few players, and he actually brought a lot of that at a time when we did lose Joe Linton, so I'll give him huge props for that. But that isn't where I want to play Elliot Anderson. I don't really want to play him as the midfield destructor. I want to get him on the ball, having a bit of freedom and running forward. So on the left-hand side, he has done a bit of that, but really he's kind of in behind the 10. And I guess that's when it's up to Elliot Anderson, really, as to... I mean, if Newcastle are offering Elliot Anderson as a swap deal, it would suggest that maybe they are thinking... Not that they want to necessarily, get rid of Anderson, but maybe we do have a lot of players in a position and maybe he just doesn't quite fit the mould of where we are. But it's not to say that he won't ever do that, and I think Elliot Anderson is still very young and is only just, I think, this season going to be an actual squad number, because previously he was still under 21 and he didn't even didn't even need to put his name in the squad, he could just play. But I think he's got more to bring and more to come from him, and I'll be, again, very reserved to let a player like that go, but I'm just trying to get into the mindset of where Newcastle and Eddie Howe are thinking. And I think it's possibly that where is Elliot Anderson's position in this side? Because at the moment we're trying to play him in midfield, and it's great to have numbers and he can do a job there. But for me, I'd want him further forward. And I guess that's the $1 million question: does Anderson want to sit and maybe not be able to play his best football out of position, or does he want to go and possibly strive at another Premier League side where they do play a number 10, or they do play somewhere that he could suit them a little bit better? As I've said, reported by the Daily Mail, he doesn't want to go and he wants a new deal, which I think is, big up to him. Why would he want to go? He's playing some good football when he is on the pitch, and Newcastle are pushing forward, and it's homegrown home club. So you guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on everything that I've talked about today. As I say, the swap deal was almost like Dominic Calvert-Lewin kind of creeped in slowly. The Minty story's been kind of travelling for a while now, but all out of the blue, Newcastle going in for a centre-back and not just putting in money, but offering a player as well was quite a shock. And as much as Kilman, is a good centre-back and, again, another left-footed, I was more just like, wow, are we offering players out now? And is that something to compete with PSR? Or is that, all what's reported Anderson wants to stay, is maybe he is open to listening to what other clubs have to say? If someone does say, what it is, you will come and play for us, you will get first team football, you will develop, and you'll really get there. I'd love to see him develop at Newcastle. But it's hard. It's really hard. If it wasn't for so many injuries, we probably wouldn't have seen Miley all this season. And it's just because, there's so much pressure in football to kind of, chuck a young player in and, give them as much time as they probably need to continue to develop. Anderson's going to probably struggle to get that in what is becoming a bit of a stacked midfield unless we allow him to try and play a slightly more free-flowing game, and with less fixtures this season. I'm hoping we do get to see still loads of Miley this season. It's very easy to assume that it'll be Bruno, Joe Linton, Tonali, and then Longstaff, Willock. There's so many players there. I'm hoping Miley can try and get as much football as he did this season, but there's so many of them. You guys let me know your thoughts on the midfield situation down below, as well as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Minty, right-wing striker, and cost. Because for me, I think that's top and bottom of a lot of it, is where the prices of some of these players are going. It's just absolutely crazy. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you later.